And we're live. Just adding some lemonade to my drinky poo. Fruit extravaganza. Who's here? Megalich, hello. Don't trust society. Fine sentiment, fine sentiment. Depending on what your definition of society is, and depending how far you take it, of course. You can take anything too far. Yes, for instance, if someone used a reasonable starting point, like, don't trust society, don't trust people, always be a little skeptical, keep an open mind. If they took that to a stupid degree, like climate change isn't real, vaccines don't work, the earth is flat, then that person has transmogrified into a fucking moron. Stella, good evening to you. Like I said, you can take anything too far. And sadly, there's always someone who will. So the idea of, being skeptical, the good points of it are exactly the same as the bad points of it. If you're keeping an open mind and don't automatically accept things, you're being rational and skeptical. It's like, well, I'm not just believing the thing I told you, and that same mindset can lead you to, I'm not going to believe something that's supported by a mountain of scientific evidence. Usually the dead giveaway when someone is a fucking idiot or has got off the deep end is when they're saying, like, oh, I don't believe just what people tell me about X. When you talk about evidence and they go, I do my own research and believe everything I read, and their preferred option is something with basically, no rational supporting evidence. If it's a scientific thing, like there's no meaningful peer-reviewed studies into it. Someone's going with gut feel as opposed to evidence that someone else has painstakingly compiled. That's when, yes, you sort of know. And also, when you press someone, if they start going, I don't believe everything I get told about that, and you press them, well, what do you believe? If they get really, really evasive, yeah, they're also a shithead, because they know that if they, actually come out and say what they believe about the lizard people who live under the earth and are shapeshifters and control all the positions of power in the world, that you will rightly say, oh, you're a fucking moron. Yes, tell her the anti-vax Karens. Crosses political boundaries, that one, which is fascinating. You get a lot of people who are educated and consider themselves progressive and rational, get on the anti-vax bandwagon, and you get a lot of people who are uneducated and paranoid and reactionary, who also decide vaccines are to work off the devil. Dave, what are you saying? Ironic, yes, it is that, like, the people who lived through, wow, bloody fridge motors are just being super noisy tonight. That's just a thing they do from time to time, I guess. I don't know if I should shoot a video time. I've really been enjoying doing the comparison videos I've been making. I might make one tomorrow night. Wouldn't normally on a Wednesday, but I might make one tomorrow night. To have it there for the weekend. Oh, I need to upload. I haven't uploaded the one that I shot on the weekend in the live stream. I edited it and it's ready. I meant to put it up today. No, I forgot. Getting back to work, I've forgotten. Probably too late to put it up now. Annette, you got school starting tomorrow. Yikes. And hey, Justin, how are you? Oh, I had a video pause, did I? Let me know if it's stuttering badly, and I will go and get the landline because I am, in fact, on Wi-Fi. Let me check which Wi-Fi, and I'll make sure I'm on the correct Wi-Fi. I am on the correct Wi-Fi. That is good. Okay, excellent. Good to know. Oh yeah, Annette, you're going to have to monitor the whole homeschooling weirdness. That's going to be a challenge. My offspring are both at uni, and they've been measuring online uni stuff for a little while now. They're okay with it. But Mrs. Angry's lad is in year 12, and so the online weirdness is just about to start for him. Big Bad Ads, hello, hello, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for dropping by. It's a strange time we live in. It's a very strange time, and who knows what effect it will have in the future. The weirdness is, for me, is not knowing exactly what's going to happen. It's very weird. Catherine, oh, you left news on today, Catherine. Yikes. And everyone's playing Alex Jones when you can. That's all kinds of wrong. Oh, David, what does my T-shirt say? I think I was wearing this in another live stream. It's a stormtrooper saying, I always wear a helmet, which I think is meant to be a condom joke. But in our current in our current strange times, I think you could take it to be a reference to wearing masks in the hope it staves off COVID-19. Gecko, hello, how are you? Megaleech, that is quite a good comeback. What does my T-shirt say? I always wear arseless chaps. That's not always. That's just at special parties, really. Greg, good evening to you, sir. Good to see you. Thank you for dropping by. I'm just hanging out. Had to get back into work today, and it's not that easy. For the 4-day weekend and the whole weird dislocation of being at home, it's like, oh, cool. I have forgotten everything about everything I was working on. So I had to get up to the morning meeting when the team got together, and you'd talk through a few things and ask some questions and gradually get up to speed. To do a few of the bloody online meetings today. Yeah, I'm with you, Justin. I do feel sorry for people trying to do year 12 this year, because no matter what happens, it will feel not fair. Glee, you're lagging, and this is the hospital internet. I'm glad you want to say hi. Are you coming home on Friday? Good. Well, I hope they've been looking after you well while you're there, and I hope they continue to look after you for the next couple of days. And yeah, then I hope all goes well when you get home again. I haven't heard from AZ in a couple of days. Maybe he's in hospital too. Maybe I should get my phone. I left my phone out in the other room. Yes, I probably should. Maybe I'll message him, see what he's up to. Because, yes, at the very least, he's been having a very stressful time. But the fact that I didn't even hear from him for a couple of days, that sometimes means he's actually in hospital. So hold the fort for a second, and I'm just going to grab my phone, which I should have with me. Okay. Back. David, apparently China has around 1,000 active cases. Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to question the information that China is sending out, because they have been considerably less than honest with us. So, yeah. You're sitting at home running check disk on your PC. Oh my God, I don't think I've run check disk in forever. I mean, I've run other utilities, to try and make around. Yes, I'm old enough to remember when that was literally getting a command prompt and typing in check disk. God, where's one the dice? Oh dear. I was so confused by DOS. Like my first home computer, and a guy's very good at setting it up, and he's good at doing upgrades. I mean, I bought it from a shop. I think at Tandy Electronics actually, and then I found someone to help with maintenance and upgrades, and he was really good. And he even set up a DOS shell for me. It was like a pseudo graphical interface for the DOS applications, because it was this was pre Windows 95, so this was Windows 3.1, where DOS was still very much in the driver's seat, and I never really understood the things he did on it. Just tell you want to format a floppy disk. Classics. Formatting the disk, having to format a disk before you could use it. That was wild. Justin, your manager's partner's working in the COVID section at Canberra Hospital. Got us out of the office real fast as a result. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Megalich, my first PC was also, no, mine, I think it was a 386. No, it was a 486. It was a 486 SX. Oh, yours had 4 megabytes of RAM. I think mine originally had 1 megabyte of RAM, and I upgraded it to 4 megabytes. I think I also had a 33 megahertz processor, and then I did the wild thing and upgraded it to a DX processor that was 66 megahertz. That was the big upgrades I did. Upgraded it from 1 megabyte RAM to 4 megabytes RAM, and from an SX33 to a DX 66 processor. It was cheap when I bought it because Pentiums had just come out. So they knocked about $1,000 off the price. Computers were so expensive back then. Jesus, Gecko, that was when did you have that? 128 megabytes, 16 megabytes RAM. That would have been a beast in the 90s. David, your first computer was 97. Yeah, Windows 95 was the first operating system. Well, that was a real change in operating systems. God, I've got the alternate. I don't know why. Oh, maybe I'll get them out of my system. Yes, Windows 95 was a real change in operating systems for Windows back in the day. I mean, obviously, Windows itself was a thing. Oh, nice. Greg, you installed your own sound card on your 386 to play Doom. Excellent. Yes, I had a zip drive as well, David, and I enviously looked at the Jazz drives that had even bigger storage. A zip drive was these mini discs that held 100 megabytes. Oh, God. I've still got the odds. And considering the floppy disks were less than 2 megabytes, a single thing this big that had 100 megabytes on it was pretty amazing. Ollie, you were classic Macintosh. I learned on an Apple II at school. But I never had a Mac at home. So my home computers, since the 90s, they've always been Windows-based machines. So, Catherine, you had a laptop that was running 3.1. You dropped it and cracked the motherboard. Oh no. Yes, still back in the day when IBM made computers, yes. And they didn't understand that the operating system was going to become more important than the hardware because IBM was just a hardware. Okay, cut that away. IBM was just a hardware company and not very innovative. And so they didn't adapt to change. Whereas Gates was, he's on the innovative side of things and realized the operating system was going to be more important than the machine. Gecko, you kept your 486 until 1999, and then you got a Pentium 3. That's a big leap. Hey, Justin, your work makes you use a virtual computer on your personal computer. Yes, yeah, that a lot of workplaces do that. Virtual machine inside your thing, and so it's all partitioned off, and it has its own security and whatnot. Can affect performance quite a bit, but it's pretty common. David, you had an IBM Aptiva. Was that a desktop or a laptop? I don't remember the name of the IBM machines. I think I only ever had like generic brand ones. They obviously had IBM processors and what. You had severe autism. That's why you were fixing computers when you were a toddler. David, it was a desktop. Okay, Aptiva was a desktop. I vaguely remember that as a brand. But, oh, God, things change so much. I now just feel compelled on IBM Aptiva. The IBM Aptiva was introduced in '94. It was a replacement for the IBM PS1. Yes, they were originally 486s and then they became Pentiums, and some of them used AMD chips. Remember when AMD were a potentially serious competitor for Intel? And that was the thing that we used to obsess about. Was an AMD processor better than an Intel processor? Well, you know, you have Asperger's. Well, it's a spectrum thing, isn't it? Oh. It's weird. Apparently, now some people don't like the label Asperger's syndrome because apparently the guy it was named after is a bit of an arsehole, like really looked down on autistic people. I mean, this is one of those things where different people feel different things. Some people now just prefer they're on the spectrum, like they'll just say they're autistic, they're on the autistic spectrum. Some people still prefer to refer to Asperger's. Some people say Asperger's as well. I don't know which one you meant to say. But yes, we learn more and more about ourselves as time goes by. Gecko, you're saying AMD is definitely better now. Yeah, I know gamers preferred AMD, whereas Intel just had market share and marketing power. Oh, you only get bloody hell. Mediocre film says it Asperger's. Yes, I think because it was someone's name, I actually think it was pronounced Asperger. But I got so used to saying Asperger's, it's very hard to say different. Oh, right, yes, AMD still makes the gamer chips, the Ryzen. It's just that no one, okay, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just not sort of machine head enough with the computer. I just think people don't really talk about the processors now. I'm sure gamers definitely do. And okay. Now I'm just going to look up high performance PC. Alienware. Scorp check. Ooh, a $5,000 computer. That's outrageous. I need to know what is worth $5,000. They're actually saying they're sold out of them. The Scorp Tech Vengeance Extreme Gaming PC. Specs. Intel Core i9 9900K, CPU cooler, motherboard, an Asus motherboard, memory 32 gigabytes, DDR4, graphics Asus Turbo GeForce, 11 gigabytes. Gosh. And that was $5,000 and is sold out, which is pretty wild. That's just a lot of money for a computer. Like, here's an expensive Alienware one. 9th gen Intel Core i7 9700, 8 core, 12 megabyte cache, up to 4 gigahertz with turbo boost technology. And it's got an NVIDIA GeForce GTX Ti 6 gigabyte video card, 16 gigabyte dual channel HyperX Fury DDR4. Fury, it's not just RAM, it's Fury. It's crazy, crazy. I mean, Alienware, aren't they sort of mainly hype? Like, they built up their name and now they're overpriced? I don't know. So you called out your gaming right now. Okay, Gecko, you read the Intel chips are more expensive than AMD. Well, Intel got the mark. They got the name recognition. They can get away with charging more because they've got name recognition that AMD never got in the mainstream. Maybe with specialists, with gamers, AMD might have gotten a reputation, but in the mainstream, no. Ciao for now, Glee. Stay well. I hope they look after you in the hospital. I hope to see you back soon. Glad you're getting out, and I hope that works out for you. Yes, we're saying Dell bought Alienware. I just know that, like, Alienware built up their reputation over a year for high-end and sexy-looking gaming machines, and I've heard a few. This is not my area of expertise, but I did hear a few people who are mad gamers who are like, "Oh no, Alienware's all hype now. They make the boxes look really sexy, but you can get better performance from a much cheaper machine." Lee, you have synesthesia. How does it manifest? Do you see smells? Do you hear colors? Synesthesia is fascinating. It's just one of those things that is one of the marvels of the human brain, that it can process the same information in such different ways in different people. Like, you can essentially, you're two Homo sapiens with, the same lump of gray matter in your head, but you're two lumps of gray matter, which on a surface level at least are the same, can process information completely differently, is endlessly fascinating to me, actually. That's it, Stella. Intel advertised. Intel got on board with IBM computers and with Windows operating systems. All those ads they'd always say at the end, Intel inside, as if anyone ever cared. There were never any ads that said AMD inside. It was very clever marketing by Intel. Yeah, David, I think Microsoft deserved a lot of abuse over the years. They certainly did mainstream computing, make it easy for the masses. I think it's fascinating. Someone said at one point, because Gates, who continues to amass great wealth does also plunge, billions of dollars into charitable causes, social welfare causes. Does someone evaluate that? Like, wouldn't it be weird? Like, we spent years railing against Microsoft and how evil they were. Wouldn't it be weird if they were actually one of the more efficient tax leviers on all these corporations? Because all the money they got out of these corporations are all getting Windows machines. Billions of dollars that came out of that are now being used in humanitarian projects around the world. So all these corporations were unknowingly taxed for future benevolent works, which is a very interesting way to look at it, I think. Oh, yeah, David, Xerox inventing the GUI and not understanding the value of it. Yeah, it was funny because Apple stole the GUI from Xerox, but then they underestimated the brutality of Microsoft and the degree to which Microsoft were willing to steal from them. They didn't really have a leg to stand on when they went, oh, Microsoft copying us. And like, dude, you fucking stole the GUI from Xerox. Just because Xerox were too clueless to know what to do with it. It's kind of like Microsoft did a brutal deal to IBM, and IBM simply didn't realize what was being done to them. They didn't realize that Microsoft had identified the future, and IBM had completely failed to identify the future. Oh, okay. Billions. I've got to do it Dr. Evil style. Billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Justin, wasn't Facebook style? What actually happened? Okay, so Zuckerberg's at university. He's trying to come up with things. He basically came up with a proto hot or not thing. And then some of the rich kids at uni wanted him to code a social site for him. And hey, Charlie, how are you? That's strictly saying, okay, that's your Facebook name. Good to know. Yeah, so the Winklevoss twins and another rich guy wanted Zuckerberg to code a social site for them. And so he looked at it, and apparently what happened is he looked at it and went, right, that's actually a good idea, but the way they want to execute is shit. And he came up with what was in his mind a much, much better way to execute the same basic idea, to convert the university Facebook into a website, which is where the name Facebook came from. And so Zuckerberg sort of took some of their money, never delivered anything to them, did an end run around them, and developed his own platform that he said was nothing to do with theirs. They sued him, largely unsuccessfully, although they apparently did get a settlement at some point of a couple $1 million to fuck off. I don't really feel bad for them because they were rich assholes who had a bit of an idea with no ability to execute and just expected everything to go their way. But yeah, Zuckerberg definitely fucked over one of his founder partners in a most immoral and evil way, and he did pay for that. That guy won somewhere in the billions from Zuckerberg and Microsoft because of how Zuckerberg screwed him over. Gecko, did he have the mass advertising and data mining in mind when he developed? No way. It was an attention getter when he did it. Like it was a hookup act. It's like, his first idea was basically this hot or not thing, and then it was, like the magic bullet was working out the Facebook could be used to essentially connect people, so for people to hook up, and the money making side of it only came later. And I think I don't know that he would have realized the data mining advertising side of it if Google was not so successful. I think basically he copied, not copied, but when he realized, holy shit, Google proved something that no one knew before, that information in and of itself is mind-blowingly valuable because you can use it for advertising. You get a captive audience, you know what they're doing, so you know exactly what to advertise to them. And I think he basically emulated Google on that front. But I don't think he had any idea of what Facebook would eventually become. That's a big one, David. Did Tim Berners-Lee make huge amounts of money by inventing HTML? I think the answer to that is no. Tim Berners-Lee. Net worth, according to Google. That says he's got a net worth of 10 million. That's not bad. Article from 2012. Why the man who invented the web isn't rich. So he didn't make money from HTML, but I think he basically took on a bunch of jobs because he's really very smart, and he's made money that way. Yes, David, Yahoo were the shit, and they fucked up completely. Like there were multiple times they could have sold themselves to someone else from many billions of dollars, and they were sure that they were too good for that. And you know, the value of Yahoo dropped 95% at least from its peak. So they could have cashed out, but they didn't. There was a fun series. It was recently. It was this weird mix of documentary with interviews with actual people who went through the Silicon Valley boom, and sort of dramatic reenactments of it. Trying to remember what it was called, but it was actually pretty good because it really did tell you a couple of the untold stories of the very early years of the World Wide Web. And I knew some of it, but I definitely didn't know all of it. It was pretty good. And now I can't remember what it was called. Maybe someone else knows what I'm talking about. But yes, Class and K, you're right. Tim gave away HTML. Yes, no, he's taken on a lot of consulting jobs and senior advisory roles, and he probably invested some money as well. So that's where his 10 million come from. But yes, it must be very weird to see people use your technology to make billions. David, you met an ex on an ICQ. Got a 10-year relationship, not bad. I did meet an ex on IRC, not ICQ, and got 2 kids out of that. Hey, Steve, how's it going, man? God, Gecko, you still remember the ICQ number. That's fantastic. I did use ICQ for quite a few years. There you go, Gecko. You met your husband on IRC. Nice. See? This was back in the 90s for me. So I was basically internet dating before internet dating was a thing. In fact, I've said this on heaps of live streams, I'm sure. But because, I met my ex. She was living in Melbourne. I was living in Sydney. She's actually the reason I moved down to Melbourne. And we had in Bebe 22 and a half years ago now. And there was some conjecture she might have been the first internet baby, as in the first baby born to 2 people who met via the internet who otherwise would not have met because they were in different cities. So yes, my firstborn may have been the world's first internet baby. It's probably slightly difficult to verify that. And you used ICQ as well there. Yeah, I used it for a couple of years, I think. Oh, Gecko, you had a Perch. No, I just used IRC. I did use Merc, yes. I don't think I ever used Perch. David Hill took 4 months to get to meet you in real life. I don't think it was 4 months in my case, but it was a while, being different cities and all. I think it was at least a month. Yeah. So it's one of those things. Justin is 80 on Grindr. No, at least not to the best of my knowledge. AIDSy has been in a steady relationship for a couple of years now. And I don't pry and ask questions. I don't know how well AIDSy would cope with Grindr, actually. Maybe really well, maybe really badly. Who knows? Oh, David, in your case, you only live 25 kilometers apart. Well, that was the funny thing. On IRC, I was going to say, almost going to say I never met anyone who lived pretty close to me. Met dudes who lived reasonably close to me. I never had any romantic flings with anyone who lived close by. There was a period after I split up with my ex when I was single. What was it? It was MSN chat. That was where I did meet some flirty locals on MSN chat when that was still a thing. So that was about 25. No, it wasn't that long ago. 16, 17 years ago, something like that. 20 years ago? I don't remember. No, it was that long. It was about 18 years ago. I can almost pinpoint it. About 18 years ago. Like you talk about money's not important if you're a jerk. You're saying he used to be a rich asshole. I've just always been an asshole without being rich. The first Angry Aussie video you saw was the one about the Netgear router password. I vaguely remember that. I did so many such strange videos back in the day. Oh yes, Stella ASL was hilarious. Age, sex, location. Oh dear. Yes, it's on the bottom. I had such trouble trying to get the password for this router, and I forget if I'd written it somewhere, but it was actually in a little card on the bottom of the router. And that was a true life video, that one. Ugh. Oh, Gecko, you knew people from IRC that were in Texas when you're in California, and you finally got to meet them years later. That's cool. YouTube's been that for me for the last decade or so. How I meet new and interesting people. Sometimes, yes. Oh my God, that was the angle of it, Mega Leech. You told me it was on the bottom of the router. That's what happened. You guys have much better memories than me. It's all coming flooding back. Absolutely doing my head in, quite honestly. Let me Angry Aussie router password. See if it actually comes up. Ugh, no, just a lot of tutorials on how to change her. Okay, wireless routers suck. I think that will be it. Shall we have, it's only 2 minutes. Shall we have it's when I was wearing the mask and everything. Shall we have a watch party of me wearing the mask? Yes, I've met Steve through YouTube as well. Okay. Okay, we'll have a little watch party. I'm going to do the share screen, the Chrome tab, wireless routers suck. It's going to be a little window because this is very old. This is from 2007. So this is 12 and a half years old. Look how young and pretty I am. Well, I've got a mask on, so you can't really tell. I'm also about 20 kilos lighter there, which is frightening. But anyway, let's... Oh, wait a sec. Where's the volume? Yeah, volume's up. Let's go.
G'day, viewers. I found myself feeling not very angry today, so I was thinking I might not even do a video. You know, I wasn't motivated, nothing to rant about. And then I tried to set up a wireless router. For all you youngsters out there...
Oops. This I need to
It's
have...
actually much easier to add software and hardware to a computer these days than it used to be. I'm old enough to have gone through trying to install stuff via DOS and get the right drivers, overcome incompatibilities, and get a solution to difficult crap, all without the help of an internet connection. So your worst day installing hardware these days is pretty close to your best day installing hardware in the early 90s. A lot of the technical hassles are fixed, and that just leaves for the manufacturers to do something really fucking stupid. So I'm working my way through the installation process, and a little window pops up saying, log in. And hey, I'm doing my internet connection, so I thought it wanted my internet login details. Apparently not, because this didn't work. And there was no instructions, no prompts, no hint as to what the fuck I was meant to do now. So basically, I'm getting to the point of wanting to smash things. Seriously, fuck some shit up, because this is just getting to me. So I checked the directory on the CD, and there's actually a PDF version of a manual. Suppose it's cheaper than printing one. They could have given a hint that there was one there. Anyway, I look it up, and what I have to log in as is username admin, password. Now, why the fuck did they even set that up? If it's going to be something so basic and default, why don't they default those into the fucking setup and then tell you, oh, you ought to change these default settings? They just feed this thing to you with no instruction, and there's no big secret. Your fucking admin and password. What is wrong with these people? Actually, I haven't said it in a while, and this is a good opportunity. What the hell is wrong with you people?
All right, so that was the first one. Then I must have got a follow-up. Did I do a follow-up? Because, yeah, there's comments from Megaleech here. And this is back when the comment system was very, very, very broken. So I can't even really... how can I sort them by? Sort them by newest first? No. Actually, look, I'm going to try something here. Maybe newest first. So put them in order. Maybe Megaleech's comments were together. See, my replies aren't there anyway. Okay, where are we? Oh, people, here we go. Look, see, there's Megaleech's comment. You probably can't read it. It's probably too small, but he's saying, my wireless router has the default username and password printed on the unit's base for all to see. I kid you not, had to roll my eyes at the stupidity of it. Bet your ass I changed the default password. And so may I require the brand? My replies aren't there for some reason. There's a Netgear. Oh, really dumb question. Did you ever look at the bottom of your router in the immediate vicinity of the barcodes for the serial number and MAC address? And I've obviously done it. Oh my fucking God, it's right there. And he's going, you made my night. Fuel for the angry machine. Use it. So that's a real thing that happened to me. There's a real thing that happened to me. Oh, David, why the mask? Back in the day, when I first started on YouTube, for about, I don't know, the first 18 months I was on YouTube, I wore a mask or a variety of masks. And that was basically because it was all new and strange, and I was paranoid. And also because I was a contractor, and the Melbourne IT scene is sort of small and gossipy and conservative. And so it was literally to protect my identity. I didn't want it to interfere with my day job. After a while, I got sick of the concept of that. Okay, I found the follow-up one as well. Let's do another watch party. This one's even shorter. This the first one was called "I Hate Routers." Oh no, it was called "Wireless Routers Suck," and the follow-up's just called "I Hate Technology." So I'll do a little watch party for that. Come on, play.
G'day viewers. Now, a lot of the newer subscribers have been asking me, can I point them to some videos where I get really angry? Normally you can tell by the title of the video. There was one a little while ago when I just had a bastard of a time trying to set up a wireless router, and I went off about how hard it was. Particularly, they'd set a default password and username and made it a little bit hard as far as I was concerned to work out what the hell that was.
Goes in the same thing.
And it dragged on for ages before I worked it out. Though, go watch the video if you want the details. But anyway, lots of people commenting, I hate technology, I hate technology. And one of my subscribers, Megaleech, happened to go, out of interest, what sort of router was it? It's a cheap Netgear. And he goes, I use those too. And they tend to print the default username and password on the back of the router. Have you looked there? And we go right down here. It says username, admin, password. I didn't happen to look. And when he essentially made that stupid, I took it like a man. I didn't get, I hate technology! Oh, and Megaleech, I am going to hunt you down and kill you!
Again, that's one of the Little Miss Angry videos there too. I used to do really short videos. Oh dear. Stop screen. There we go. That was. I used to post very short videos back in the day, just on random silly topics. Probably should do that more often. Anywho, it's a funny old world. Things change. Another one from 12 years ago with she's Little Miss Angry. Then she's God, she'd only be 10 years old. This freaks me out. I think, look, even looking at me 12 years ago, I was like, oh, who's that much slimmer, handsome young man there? Oh, he's doesn't he look nice? He'll probably maintain that for years. He probably won't gain 20 kilograms. Yikes. Okay. But yes. No. Gecko, back in the day, video could be long because I was in the partner program. I was in the first group of people who could post videos longer than 10 minutes. And I would do so as well. It's just that everyone had this thing that everyone's attention span was really short. So I would do a lot of short videos, and I mean a lot, a lot. And so is that the same house? I've been in my current house for 3 years now, so that was a different house. 12 years ago, it was a different house. I'd not actually, and I was in that house for 10 years, so I hadn't actually been in that house all that long when I shot that video. The first one I posted just about the router with the angry mask on the whole time. That was in the shed, and as you could probably tell, the second one was in my lounge room. Yeah, Gecko, I don't use the shed anymore. There were a couple of websites that you could turn any image into a great big thing that would print across as many sheets as you want to cover, which was a fun thing to do. These days, if I've got a background, it's going to be my green screen. But yeah, there was but basically there were a couple of websites that would I don't even know if they're still around. I think one had the silly name Raster Bait because they were using raster images. Rasterbaiter. Yeah, Rasterbaiter's still around. There you are. So, but that wasn't the one I actually used. There was another one. But it's a cute way to do a large image printed across many sheets of paper, and then you like put it together like a very simple jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, and I did that with a few images. It was fun. I'm just looking at the site now and see what it lets me do. Okay, it's defaulting to say do this image on 2 sheets high and 4 sheets wide, so 8 sheets of paper altogether. I said I wanted it 10 sheets wide. Does that let me do that? Oh yeah. God, I'm almost tempted to do it again, but no, I won't. Hey, Luke, how you doing? David, you put on 90 kilograms. Well, we're both in the Fat Bastard Club, my friend. Yeah, Gecko, the printouts have an organic quality, which I quite like. They're just the lo-fi thing of a really quite pixelated physical thing. I quite enjoy. But yes, I have not done that for a long time. Gecko, no, I don't have a shed like the old house, but we have an extra room. So I now do my videos inside the house. There is actually, I tell a lie, there is a shed on this house. It's just full of shit. Our move here was quite stressful and disastrous. And I shit you not, 3 years later, the shed is still full of boxes of shit we probably don't need that we've never unpacked. Probably if this whole isolation thing is, because my current contract runs till the end of June and there's no guarantee it'll get extended. In fact, because it's for a state government department, with state government budgets being like they are, there's probably not much chance of being extended. I don't know. And it would probably be quite difficult to get another job. Maybe not, because I've become a cybersecurity expert. In the last 2 years, I've been specializing in cybersecurity, and that's a very in-demand area at the moment. So maybe I get another job, but nothing's for sure in this world. So if I end up like a big chunk of the population has, and not having a job and having lots of spare time on my hand, I guess a very practical thing I could and should and hopefully would do is finally unpack all these fucking boxes. See, I'm still working, so this is not that different to me. I'm not that motivated to use up my free time unpacking boxes, which seems dull and unfulfilling. So I'm in no rush to do that. But it's, I mean, like, yeah, someone like Marie Kondo type would clearly and with quite a lot of justification say that stuff has been in boxes for 3 years and your life has gone on. You shouldn't even look in the boxes. You should just throw them out. And there's a lot of valid reasoning behind that. But I'm not going to do that. David, moving house is a pain in the ass. It is widely regarded as one of the most stressful and awful processes to go through, right up, in terms of stress with the death of a loved one. And this last move was without a doubt the worst and most stressful move of my entire life. I have moved a lot of time in my 50 years on this earth, and this was by a very, very long way, the absolute worst. It was fucking terrible. Ollie, thank you for the offer to help. It's not so much that I need help, I just need to do it at some point. Gecko, you had a good week last week. Nice. Well, see, maybe if your lift's going well, maybe it's because you're sticking with it. Maybe other people are feeling the stress of the number of jobs in the rideshare thing have dropped off. Maybe people who don't have your staying power have dropped out and you're picking up all the extra gig. But good for you, actually. I'm glad that was a good week. We all need good weeks these days. Like I said, I'm doing fairly well, but it doesn't stop things from being weird. Things aren't particularly stressful for me. I'm still working. And I'm with my family here. And so compared to a lot of people, I'm really spoiled. It's still weird, but it's not really stressful for me. Don't have small kids. As I said, we're discussing this last live stream. I think the people who find it the hardest are people who are living alone. So you're absolutely alone, which would fucking suck. And people with small kids at home. Very stressful in a very different way. And I'm not alone, and I don't have small kids in the house. So, and I'm working, so I have money. So, and there are people who, have that stress on top of everything else. And I am basically super fucking lucky. And I am very aware of how lucky I am. I do not take it for granted at all. Just with amount of friends in both real life and online who've shared stories of stress and horror and whatnot, and I'm just like, yeah, actually things are okay. I'm doing fine, quite honestly. So yes, I try not to rub it in with anyone who's having a tougher time of it, but so far things are working fairly well for me. It's nothing worse than weird for me at the moment. Yeah, okay, David. Yeah, you don't have relations here. It's not a hoot. Yeah. Okay, now I've brought all the people living alone out of the woodwork, and yes, I do understand that must be really fucking stressful, honestly. Just very, very, very sick. Even my friends who are introverts and have always said, the introverts and going out stressful for them and whatnot. And there were all the jokes when this started. It's like, as a lifelong introvert, this is where I come into my own. It's like, oh, and you can't do things. Well, a life of cancelling previous plans has prepared me for just this day. Now even the introverts are going, oh no, apparently there is actually a difference between being an introvert and a hermit. And it gets to the show. Ellie's saying dealing with suicidal thoughts. You will not be alone in that. This is where, wow, I wonder what it's like for the crisis services now. Because I would hazard a guess that demand for the crisis services like Lifeline and other similar things, I would hazard a guess the demand for them has gone up sharply. And I don't know if they would still have to work in their call centers or if they can do some virtual stuff so people can work from home. I mean, I obviously know that's possible and not even technically particularly difficult to set up, but I don't know if any of these crisis services have that infrastructure. That's not something I've seen in the news. I figure there must have been a spike in demand for services for crisis centres. And yeah, how are they coping and what sort of infrastructure do they have? And are the people who answer the calls working from home, or do they have to go into a call centre? So yeah, David and Catherine are both saying you're introverts, but yeah, being forced is different. The initial thought, oh, I don't have, people won't bother me. I don't have to feel bad about saying to people, I'm not going to go out where you are, I'm not going to see you. But yes, then it transitions from it's forced on you. And it's like, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, strictly saying it that, I mean, I've been doing these live streams about 5 nights a week. I initially said I'd do it every night, but then I was like, that's kind of shit to the rest of the people in the house if I do it every night. It's like last night I took a night off and watched a couple of episodes of Devs with Mrs. Angry. That's a good show. Last episode is coming up, and I'm not sure, but this strikes me as, like this is not going to be an ongoing series. This is a limited series, and it will be over when this thing. Oh, Trixie, I'm glad you and Soph like the streams. I really enjoy doing them. It's good. Oh yes, Gecko, you had an Americanized Kinder Egg. Tell you what, that's a good thing, because on the socials, I was talking to Gecko. He was going to show us an Americanized Kinder Egg. So I'm gonna do that to anyone who wants to. Join. I think hopefully Gecko is going to join and show us an Americanized Kinder Egg after the conversation we had the other day at Kinder Eggs. But yes, anyone who wants to join can just use that link to join in. If we get a lot of people, it'll just be Brady Bunch style with lots of little windows in there. Isn't it weird how that stylized thing of the Brady Bunch, we're now really actually quite used to that sort of thing. Both, I mean, there are media shows that, get so many people on. They do this. Lee's going to come on and say hello. Hello, Lee. There we go. I don't know if you've got any sound at your end, Lee. Yes, you can wave, certainly. Oh, now I think I can hear sound at your end. And he's Gecko. He's gonna.
Hello. Okay, I'm back in the car. I've got a headset this time, so cool. There's no echoes.
Excellent.
So I'm not sure how these. Can I full screen my own thing? No, apparently
not.
Yeah,
you've got the full thing in.
I'm not sure how these are packaged or sold in other countries. Here's
kind of
in
looks
America.
similar. It's egg shaped.
It's plastic. It's egg shaped. Yeah. It's plastic. I think it's broken because I can push in the side a little bit. There's a tab. You can pull the.
Yeah. Well, open up, because here it's like a chocolate egg that you then break open, and it's got a little plastic container inside it that has some sort of toy. How does this one work?
It says surprise toy inside.
Yeah.
I've never opened one of these. It looks like it's foil. Uh, you- okay,
Oh,
so it's two halves.
oh, okay. Okay, so it's like the toys in one half, from the looks of that.
Yeah, there's some kind of plastic contraption here. Maybe it's like a spoon or something. I have no
Oh yeah.
idea. And this peels back. Yeah, there's some kind of puzzle toy or something in here.
Okay, something you have to put together. That's standard for a Kinder Egg.
It's like let's see. There's like a whole bunch of different things in here. There's an orange colored thing. It's like a container case or whatever. There's a picture of
Something, yeah.
some kind of picture of
Is that
I
a
have no idea.
cartoon character?
Some kind of cartoon character. It looks like a squirrel of some kind looking through a telescope at eggs.
So it's chocolate on the other side, is it?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And there's a couple other things in here. There's a piece of string. I guess you can tie it to this. It's like
I
a
suppose to hang
locket or
up something.
something.
Yeah.
And then there's some paper. God, it's it's a fold out instruction manual.
Oh, there you go.
It's like how to tie a knot onto the loop of the thing, and there's a picture on the other side of like different egg characters.
Oh, okay. There's a whole family of them. There you go. Okay,
And
so
then there's little like cardstock things. I have no idea. I guess you break them off and you get this character.
okay. Yeah.
Anyways, the other side's got foil
Yeah.
instead of just plastic. It peels open.
So that must be the chocolate side.
There's no egg.
There's no egg. It's just what's it, like Nutella or something in there?
I don't know. It's
What
I guess
are
that's
they?
why it has like a plastic spoon.
All right, because you're meant to scoop that out.
I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's clearly how they got around the worrying about the choking hazard.
So yeah, there's like white chocolate. Yeah, it's just like white chocolate.
Hmm.
And these things, I guess they're more like Whoppers or something. They look like it.
They chewy.
They're crunchy on the outside. They got soft,
Okay.
gooey center.
Yeah, I'm afraid. Yeah, when you're used to Kinder eggs, I started Stella saying that looks a bit disappointing. It is a bit disappointing compared to a traditional Kinder egg.
It tastes fine. But it doesn't say Kinder Egg on it. It says Kinder Joy, sweet
Aha.
cream topped with cocoa wafer bits.
There you go.
Warning: choking hazard. But yeah, I guess there is a toy, but yeah, there's no chocolate. There's no magic of how they got the toy inside the chocolate or anything like that.
Oh, Megaleech. Oh wait, I might be able. Megaleech is pointing me to something. I might be able to get that if I go over to YouTube. Let me see. Where's the live stream? Okay. Oh wait, what's it? Oh god, what's the bloody thing doing to me in top chat? No, I want to see all chat. Right.
It's either top chat.
All right. So Megaleech has told me.
I don't see any chat.
I don't think you get to see it. Yeah. Megaleech has told
I
me.
have a chat window, but I'm not sure if it's the same as what's coming through. I think it is coming through from the YouTube because it's got the little red play icon next to the
All right, I'm going to show this one.
things.
Oh, wait, here's Megalich is joining us too. Hello, Daniel.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Okay, I found the video you were talking about.
I was going to share it, but that's okay if you've got it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do a share screen for a minute and show this Australian Kinder Egg opening video, so we can revel in an Australian Kinder Egg. Here we go. This Kinder Surprise. Oh my god, that's pretty exciting. Watching them trying to open the exciting.
It is foil wrapped, not your.
Yeah. See, this is a proper Kinder Egg because there's an actual chocolate egg in it. And then you crack it open, and there's the plastic thing inside it.
That's the dreaded choking hazard.
Yeah. Which is either sometimes quite good and sometimes really shit. Ooh, that's one. Oh, it's got a car.
It looks like a misshapen Easter egg.
Yeah, basically is. See, anything with a car is automatically good. Looks like you actually get to fire that car out. Oh, it's actual tie-in for the Pixar cars. The worst of the Pixar.
Oh, it's got propaganda in it.
Yeah, it's marketing. Yeah. All right, so yeah, you can actually pop that thing to push the car forward because you can't just do that with your finger. But I have to admit, I like Gadget Things Series. You need to put those stickers on it. Is it? No, it's not going to do now. Just indicating that that's where they go. Cool. Instruction. Now show us. I need to see the car get popped. Yeah, see. Oh god, it's not even spring loaded. Okay. Yeah, no, he's worked out how it works. Yes, come on. No, make it go. I need validation. Come on, do it. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, that was the payoff.
Now, I guess that white coating on the inside of it is like I have no idea what
that's milk chocolate. It's,
well, the outside
darker chocolate and then milk chocolate on the inside.
Yeah.
They've got these candies here called Ferrero Rocher.
Ferrero Rocher.
Little gold wrap. Yeah, those things. I think I tried one of those and it's disgusting. I couldn't. I'm like, what was I thinking?
I'm not really into Ferrero.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming.
I don't know how anyone can stand those things.
Yeah. So
am I doing the Max Headroom Bowl again?
It's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
But now we are.
Yeah, I don't have the best
echo. I don't know if your headphones have slipped out, Gecko, or because I am hearing the echo.
That's
mute
weird
people
because
until
it's
you
only
find out
playing.
who it is, Andrew.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep talking. Okay. Yeah, it is still there. Sorry, Gecko. I'm just going to mute you for a sec and check. That should have. Yeah. Okay. That should have worked. I've got to wait 5 seconds and keep talking, babbling like an idiot. Yeah. Okay. I think it's at Gecko's end. Okay. It is. Wait a second. I'm trying to unmute you now. Come on. What is that?
How it could be me because I'm only coming through my headphones. So.
Yeah. Well. No, but it's definitely there. I don't know what's happening.
I tried me, and it didn't work.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
I don't have a mute button on my.
Yeah. See, when you mute at your end, now I can't hear it. So the echo is definitely coming at your end. No idea why or. The technology he's disappeared. He's going to try and fix something, I think. There we go. So, well, there you go. The joy and excitement of Australian Kinder eggs. Speaking of, I keep crap in boxes. I think Gecko's going to have another go at joining us now. All right, let's see if that's any better. How's
Can
it going?
you hear me okay?
Can hear you, and I'm not hearing me. So whatever you did, fixed it. So there you go.
Have you tried turning it off and on again? That works.
Yeah, that's the miracle cure for technological ills.
Well, when I was working at iNet, it fixed 90% of the phone calls. Have you tried turning it off and on again? And they're like, oh shit. Oh,
Yeah.
it's working. Oh, thanks.
Oh my god.
One of my computer classes back in high school, the teacher was like, they said, if the computer's not working, check to make sure it's actually plugged into the wall, because that has happened apparently.
Back in the day, in the 90s, in the early days of internet in Australia, my ex was working on the help desk for the big telecom provider in Australia, Telstra, and some of the calls she got was stunning because people just not being at all technically savvy. And computers were expensive there. Like a shitty computer would cost $2,000 to $4,000, and that was a shitty computer. And that's a really expensive computer now. And so to get on the internet was usually a couple $1,000s outlaid. And then with people didn't know what to do when they were on there. My two favorites. One was she's stepping someone through the process, and she said, and now, so right click on that icon and it should give you these options. No, that didn't happen. Oh, okay. So is your mouse working? Yes, I can move the pointer around. Okay, so you want the pointer to be on that? Yeah. Now right click and this menu should come up. No, it doesn't. Something's wrong. And it goes on and goes, and she eventually says, are you clicking the right mouse button when I say this? I know how to click the button. I know how to click it right. And then she went, no, wait. I don't mean the correct mouse button. There are two buttons on the mouse. One's on the left, one's on the right. And they went, oh. So that became our generic term for someone who really didn't know technology at all. They were right clickers.
Well, there was also the can't see the printer, but the monitors turned towards the printer.
Oh God!
Are they trying to scan their document by holding it up to the monitor?
Yeah.
My favourites were the PyFoc era and the ID10T era.
Oh yes.
So problem in front of keyboard and the ID10T. Yeah.
Yes. And there was a priceless one with this older guy. And he's okay. The echo's happening. The echo's happening again, and it's way worse. And it's your system doing it again, Gecko. There's this older guy, and he's just bought a new computer, the first computer in his life. Like I think he was in his 60s or something, so she's stepping him through the setup, and he's following everything really well. He's doing this, doing the dial-up. She heard the modem noise, and then he's going, well, I still don't have any internet. And she's going, that's really strange, because you sounded like you did everything right, and it sounded like everything was working. And you go, no, I did that browser thing. I forget even what browser we would have been using back then. I don't know if it was bloody Mozilla or something else.
Explorer.
Netscape.
Yeah, it would have been Netscape. Yes, thanks, Gecko. It probably would have been Netscape. And anyway, the guy's going, no, I don't have any internet. And she goes, geez, could you just describe to me what you're actually seeing at the moment? And so he describes the screen, which was the Telstra homepage. And so he goes, that's it. And he goes, it's not doing anything. Okay. No, you have to do stuff. And he's like, clearly, I loved it because he outlaid thousands of dollars on the internet and he had no expectation of what it actually was. And he got there and he goes, that's it. It's not doing anything. And it's just,
He was probably expecting the porn to come straight up.
Yeah, it was great.
I was probably expecting like Lawnmower Man, where like virtual reality like shoots out of the screen and music starts playing.
No, it was absolutely. He was clearly expecting a Lawnmower Man type VR experience, and the fact that it was this static page, he was super disappointed. And he's like, "Hey, is that it?" And she's trying to find a way to go to not say it's sucked in. That's it. That's the internet. It's just like I loved him because people told him the internet was a thing, so he did it, but he didn't know what was going to happen when he got there. It was like,
Oh yeah, it would have been really funny if it was like a David Bowie tie-in, and then suddenly he comes out of nowhere and goes, "Let's dance."
Bowie was big on the internet in the 90s, actually. For mainstream people, he was actually remarkably switched on with understanding the internet. There was actually the early days of Bowie.net was one of the more groundbreaking websites. He really understood it.
I know.
There's a few interviews you can still find on YouTube. It's astonishing how far ahead of the curve David Bowie was. He's a smart man.
Yeah, did you know he also apparently had Asperger's as well? Or
That
autism?
wouldn't surprise me at all if he was on the spectrum. When you look at his creativity and somewhat obsessive behavior over the years, that would fit fairly well, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I think,
And apparently
honestly,
John
David
Lennon,
Bowie
too.
is a freaking hero because
He is.
he knew he was dying, and he's still producing an album for it.
Yeah, and I think he dipped out on his own terms. No one near him was very open about it, but he got his final album out. The reviews came in, and it was a good album, and it got good reviews. And then they announced 2 days later he died, and I was like, I'm reasonably sure he chose the means of dipping out at that point because he had an untreatable illness. But I think he chose the day and the time, basically, although none of the people near him really said anything about it because, well, that's actually illegal, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he went out on his own terms. Yeah. Oh, yeah, strictly say, talking about Freddie Mercury. Yeah, he kept fairly busy right to the end. Oh, God, incidentally, I rewatched most of that Bohemian Rhapsody movie the other day. It just happened to be on when I was flipping around. I still enjoy that, even though it's so fictional. Like, fully 50% of the movie never happened. It's like, but Queen were involved in making that movie. And I'm going, why did Queen decide to tell a story that wasn't actually true? That's really weird. Oh, look, Gecko's worked out the toy. He's got the toy on the screen now. Class.
He's a kid again.
I mean, it's just a basic knot. It's just like a loop. Any kid could tie this knot.
I actually got
it's just a standard way of putting a closed loop on another closed loop.
Yeah, I got a thing like that out of one of those. I don't think it was actually a Kinder Egg. I think it was a similar thing though. A zipper on my leather jacket was broken and little thing, and I got one of those a toy like that, and it's a little Spider-Man toy, I think. And I looped the string through the catch on the zipper because the tongue thing that you actually pull up and down, that broke off, but the zipper still worked. And so I looped the little string of that thing through there. Now I have this cute sort of Spider-Man dangling on my leather jacket that I use to zip it up and down. And it always gets people going, well, that's really cool. And I went, yeah, it's functional and necessary because the zipper broke. But it does look cool, little Spider-Man going up and down the zipper. Oh, God. Okay, let's all reveal our ages. Strictly Sega saying, who remembers the Big Boss cigar lollies? I do. They were these caramel fake cigars, and you're not allowed to call... Now they say they're dynamite.
Would that have been a country-based or region-based thing?
I think so. Some stuff crosses lines, but like we had lolly cigarettes called fags.
Called fags. Yeah.
Because that is the English and Australian slang for cigarettes was fags, and then that became a very bad thing to have on lolly. It was a double thing of there was laws passed saying you couldn't market things that looked like cigarettes for kids, so chocolate cigarettes went bye-byes and Big Boss cigars became dynamite, and fags changed their name to fads with a D, and they were just white sticks. But I'm old enough to remember when they were fags. Ooh,
If you share my screen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. Fags. And then fads. Many fond memories of fags. The innuendo just writes itself, really. It's like I couldn't resist when I was in England because there's a food called faggots. It's like beef mince and gravy, these little beef mince balls. There's a very traditional English food called faggots. And so we'll be in the supermarket and there'll be frozen faggots. I couldn't resist. I want an Instagram holding a thing up. I'm just here hanging out with some English faggots. Because that's funny.
Oh yeah, then they've got a dessert called spotted dick.
Yes, you could probably have a good evening with some faggots and spotted dick. That's
Yeah, I remember
Otherwise
Spotted
known
Dick
as
was
Florida
a joke
right
in the
now.
movie King Records.
yeah. Except no, spotted dick is quite popular. Stella wants to know if you can still buy fads. Maybe. I just think they're not very popular because they're just tasteless little white sticks. And it was fun when they had a red tip and you could pretend, ooh, I'm smoking. Maybe and I kind of understand not wanting to normalize smoking, but I never smoked, and I thought chocolate cigarettes and fags and Big Boss cigars were great. I never smoked, but I know the idea. I am against the idea of normalizing cigarette smoking. Like, I really hate fashion or band photography or actor photography that uses a cigarette as a prop to go cool. That just annoys the shit out of me.
We have Big League Chew. It's like bubble gum. It comes in a pouch.
Mm. And because the baseball players would chew tobacco when they were out on the field. And so there was this shredded chewing gum called Big League Chew. I've seen that. And because that wouldn't have translated here because we don't get baseball and no one's chewing tobacco. So we wouldn't have understood it here, although I have seen it in America, yeah.
I haven't bought gum in a long time. I'm not even sure if it's still available. If it is, I'll let you know.
Yes. Gecko's our man on the ground finding all the confectionery in the US for us, which is legendary. I love it. Like I said, that was my big thing when I was there. If I went past a petrol station or a convenience store, it's like, going in to buy something stupid, look out. And I remember doing a road trip with Corey, Mr. Safety, from San Francisco to LA. And when we stopped at a petrol station, they had the drink dispensing machine, and you could get a cup that was basically like a fucking liter. It was so big, this cup. And so I just got one of them and filled it up. And I go back to the car with some weird shit and this huge soda. And Corey and his then wife, oh, it was bigger than that. It was so much bigger than that. Not that size is all that counts, Megaleech. But yeah, he was like a KFC bucket. It was not much smaller than a KFC bucket. It was just stupidly big. And so I just filled up this drink thing and went back to the car doing it. And Corey and his then wife were like, what are you doing? Why did you get such a big drink? I went, because I can. This doesn't exist in Australia. I think Gecko's playing with the Oh, you're out of the car now.
Yeah, I'm out of the car. I'm back on the Wi-Fi at my apartment.
Cool.
So yeah, the Arco AM/PM Big Gulp 64-ounce cup
That
is
sounds
probably what you're
fantastic.
talking about.
Hey, I've got to do a comparison. How big is that? Because I don't know.
60
He's got
ounce.
KFC bucket in the background of Mega Leech's video there.
Yeah, it's about that. Let me go.
So, like your large Frozens at Macca's and thing, like Hungry Jack's here, is 20 ounce. So it's 3 times one of those.
No, I just looked it up. It's like 1.9 liters. I think it was the size of that KFC bucket. It was those 64 ounces are 1.9 liters. Oh my god! And that's the one I got because I got the biggest one they had. Ooh, oh, he's got the Everclear. What percentage is that one?
That is the 95%.
Damn. Well, I actually ordered on the website. It was talking about
190 proof. Jesus.
Yeah, 190 proof. You basically
It's got a warning in red there. It says, flammable liquid, handle with care.
Do not drink.
Do not drink. You actually can't maintain a higher alcohol concentration than that because it just vaporizes at room temperature. If you go above that, that's what I said. The thing that I found amazing, if you hold that in your mouth is warm enough to vaporize it. You can feel it going away on your tongue. It's a really weird feeling. Just feeling this liquid.
What you're also feeling is it just going right into your bloodstream through your tongue.
Yeah, I think that's probably happening too. Yeah. So I did actually.
But there is technically a way to make it more concentrated, but it is like a very special scientific thing, and
you'd have
it's
to
not
keep it
traditional.
Possibly,
yeah.
It's because the water
illegal.
and alcohol boil at the same point, so they can't distill it anymore.
Yeah.
But there's alternative methods besides distilling to get something more concentrated.
I guess that's true. Yeah. I did actually order stuff off that website. I was looking the other day. They had the green alcohol, not as strong as Everclear, but it was pretty strong. And they did have 90% absinthe on the site too. So that'll be for my birthday.
Well,
Okay.
I think I'm gonna get off and go do some more driving.
Oh, okay. I hope you keep.
I'll keep the stream on, but I'll get off of the video.
Okay, cool.
Before you do get off like that, can you rotate your camera a maybe to see if that works?
You know, I think it does.
Yeah, that's better.
There you go. All right.
But I don't know if it's sideways. Is it on your end or not?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your shift, Gecko.
Okay.
Okay. Catch you later, man.
Au revoir.
Okay. I just noticed. What time at Gecko's place? It's very early morning. He's in Texas. Strictly Sega sent me a picture on Facebook that I definitely have to share. I have actually seen these. I think it's chewing gum. I know a place where you can get these. Without further preamble, I'm just going to have to show you this image. Camel balls, extra sour. I think that's chewing gum. I'm not, but yes, they're called camel balls. So that's special.
One of our local stores has those, and I think a few other varieties.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I took some photos, so yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it with me.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever bought them. But yes, very dodgy. Oh, David's saying drink the bottle in 10 minutes as a dare. Well, that's how people die. That's why you can't buy Everclear or the Polish rectified spirit in Australia anymore, because a couple people died because they were doing repeated shots of it, which is very, very dumb because when something's that high alcohol content, it's super easy to get a toxic dose before you lose consciousness. And so, with normal, even spirits, like 40% alcohol spirits, you can, if you really put your mind to it, die from alcohol poisoning from just really getting into it. But you tend to vomit and lose consciousness before you actually get a fatal level in your system, because your body rebels against it, and it takes you longer to take a fatal dose. But yeah, the 95% stuff, you unfortunately hit a fatal dose quite quickly, and it's perfectly possible to consume it before you lose consciousness, and then you die. Let's tell your local fish and chip shop something calls.
Don't you like not let drunk people lie on their back? Because they could vomit in their sleep.
It's not even that. That's like, yes, you don't. Someone who's just really drunk might choke on vomit while they're asleep. Alcohol poisoning actually shuts down your body's functions. Your heart stops beating, your lungs stop working. So it's like that much alcohol in your system that your organs stop working, and you die. So Gecko's promising to have a drink of the Everclear on camera sometime. I was like, oh, I don't know that I want to be. Well, you're the one who bought the bottle, I guess. The intense experience of drinking here. Oh God, shell for me. You know some other gross named lollies: pig farts and sheep droppings. Okay. Yeah, no candy cigarettes or cigars, because that's normalizing smoking. Yeah, chocolate cigarettes. I don't know that chocolate cigarettes were ever very big in my youth, but I know they were around. I was much more into the fags and the Big Boss cigars. They were these bright pink, or even a pinky purple caramel flavored sugary thing. Yes, David, I agree. It's an absolute farce that alcohol's legal with the health damage and the social ills it causes, whereas weed is not going to kill you and is going to cause far less social ills than alcohol. It's like, alcohol leads to violence. I guess with some people, particularly if they sink into the paranoia, they might get violent. But most people on weed are like the opposite of violent, or likely to be the victim of violence, because they're really boring and annoying and someone wants to punch them in the head.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Or they just fall asleep.
Yes. There's a lot of that action goes. I reckon everyone's run into someone who smokes way too much dope and is just like permanently fucked. It's just like you can never tell if they're stoned or not, because you went through that, did you?
Yeah, I met someone.
Oh, you met someone? I think we've all met someone like that. I thought you were making a confession about
Yeah. No, I've never really tried it.
I remember way back in the day, back in the 90s, when I was going to raves and stuff with people and getting acid to take at raves. And I went with someone to his dealer's house one day, and it was full of people that were just fucking acid casual, because LSD will definitely fuck up your brain if you take, because it works by changing the chemical balance in your brain. So the signals that your brain send get confused and you start seeing things that aren't there because of the changes to your brain's function. And you definitely fuck your brain up if you do too much of it. And this house we went to was although this guy was selling, was a very poor advertisement for his product, because everyone in the house was really fucked up. And I was like, with my mate going, I'm not scared, but I actually don't want to be here. This is awful. And the guy kind of wanting us to be friends, like, man, you look cool. Why do you come in here? It's like, no, dude, you're really fucked up.
That reminds me of Walter Bishop on Fringe.
Oh, I only watched a few episodes of that. I don't know it very well. What's that? Oh, Stella, the struggle to get CBD oil for chronic pain. Yes, we definitely need to move to the medicinal applications of cannabinoids, and quite honestly, the recreational ones as well. I think it's bullshit that go, no, you can't do recreational drugs. It's like all these things that are legal, like smoking and drinking, which is legal and kills so many fucking people and causes so many problems. But no, weed, which, well, you're smoking. If you're smoking it, there's obvious damage, the same as smoking cigarettes. But Jesus, it doesn't fuck you up like alcohol or tobacco does.
Yeah, it could have something to do with the fact that those that produce those products actually pay the government a lot of money.
That's what happened in the early 20th century. Yes, alcohol industry lobbyists paid to turn marijuana into a big boogeyman, and that's stuck ever since, which is ridiculous. But yes, as we see, more and more states in the US are legalizing recreational use of marijuana. Almost everywhere in the US, it's legal for medicinal purposes. The first experiments with medicinal marijuana are happening in Australia, but they're still only experiments.
Like ACT.
Victoria as well. There's like a legal dope farm in Victoria. Now, Dan Andrews is all over it, setting up a medical trial here. And yeah, that's the thing, Stella, because there's this dumb prescription. They won't let you have a legal supplement that can help with pain. So yes, you go and buy illegal weed. You are not the only person. I've known quite a few people who, you know, it's almost a cliche to say someone's self-medicating, but that's what they're doing. They've got it doesn't work for anyone. In fact, for some people, cannabis actually worsens the particular pain they have. But for a lot of people, it's a pretty effective treatment for pain, and it's not addictive. Like, well, it can definitely be psychologically addictive. And if you smoke too much of it, you find it very hard to stop. But it's not that hardcore physical addiction of opioids, which also, again, are physically far more dangerous than cannabis. Yeah, the sooner we move to widespread medical use and, quite honestly, recreational use, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, like I've said earlier, in Canada, if you get caught with more than a certain amount of kilograms of weed, you have to share it, apparently.
You have to share it with the cops. That's everywhere. If the cops catch you with drugs, they definitely take them. There was a very weird animation SBS used to run in like the 90s. I can't remember what it was called, but the animation was done by the same guy who did a series I really liked called Home Movies. And the same guy wrote that one about the heavy metal band, Metalocalypse. But Metalocalypse is a very different animation style. This is really weird. There were a couple of animations that were done in this style where it was actually really wiggly, like the lines around the characters weren't steady. They were really wiggly. There was Dr. Katz, Professional Therapists, Home Movies, and this other one. And this other one that was just narrated by the guy who was a vocalist for a band called King Missile, who were most famous for a track called Detachable Penis, where, again, he doesn't sing, he just monologues over again. I have a detachable penis. It's really useful because sometimes it wants to get me in trouble and I can leave it at home. But, you know, I lose it all the time, which is really annoying. And it goes on and on. But he voice-overed this other one, and it was a very druggy one. And there was one episode where the guy's going, last weekend was good. I went to a rally where we were protesting people who take drugs. And I was like, what? That's all this guy does? And he just spent the whole time saying, yeah, we all got together and said taking drugs is bad. People should stop taking drugs. And there's like everyone now is like a Rasta or a stoner. You go, why are they all saying stop taking drugs? And then one guy gets on the microphone and he's like, yeah, I had some really good drugs at my house and someone took them. That's not cool. And it's like, for the first 5 minutes, you're just this whole thing about people should stop taking drugs, but you're all clearly on drugs. But then when no, people should stop taking my drugs away from me. It was actually pretty good. Oh, there you go. Shelf warmer knows what it was. It was a dude in a beanie, and neither of us can remember the name of it. Oh yes, I remember that song too, Stella. It's the reefer, do you want some policeman? It's the reefer, do you want a blast? That was released, the artist named The Mindless Drug Hoover, the reefer song. See, I remember that. Why can't I remember? Okay, I'm going by process of elimination because I'm on the goddamned internet. I'm going to look up one of the animated shows and find out who the person who made it.
Kind of reminds me of Round the Twist.
Except for kids, yes. All right, home movies, I'm sure was the same person. Okay, home movies. Who made it? Look up the Wikipedia entry. Created by Brendan Small. That was his name, because the character in Home Movies was actually called Brendan Small. Okay, film and television. What else? Film and television. No, he made Home Movies. He was actually an actor in Reno 911. That's pretty funny. Okay, yeah, and he worked on other ones much later. Squidbillies, Venture Brothers, Metalocalypse, Frisky Dingo, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Bob's Burgers. He's done voice stuff on. Okay, I know he's a musician, so he actually does the music for Metalocalypse. So it wasn't Brendan Small. All right. Maybe it was the other one, Lauren Bouchard. I'm going to find this. I'm absolutely going to find this. Okay. What does there go? Oh, was it Tom Snyder? Anyway, I'm going to look up each of these names. Lauren Bouchard, filmography. Yes, he did work on Dr. Katz. I knew he did. Science Court, Home Movies, Mr. Bean. Okay. Bob's Burgers. Oh, there's a Bob's Burgers movie coming out. Awesome. Bob's Burgers is one of my favorite animations at the moment. Okay,
I will take my son to watch it.
Oh, it's a great show. Okay, was it Tom Snyder? American animator. Yeah, he did Squiggle Vision. First success was Dr. Katz. Yeah, and he had the production company called Soup to Nuts. Okay, I'm going to go sideways, and I'm going to look up King Missile because he was the voiceover for this series. So, King Missile. Members. Writer John S. Hall began presenting his work as open mic. Okay, so it's John S. Hall. So, what else did John S. Hall do? This has got to give a participation by early bands, King Missile, books, stage name, discography, participation in poetry, early bands, King Missile, books. That's it. The other one he's famous for, besides Detachable Penis, was Jesus Was Way Cool, which is very funny. Writing and performance styles, stage name, legal career. He went to law school and graduated cum laude from a law school in Manhattan. Okay. And he became a lawyer specializing in entertainment law. He became a lawyer. That's fucking hilarious. Family references. 9 Inch Nails he did stuff with. Okay, with King Missile he did stuff. King Missile 3, King Missile 4, Unusual Squirrel, Real Men, Solo. Okay, I'm super pissed off. It's not there. Okay, now I've just got the shits. Wait, Gecko's coming back. We should destroy
Just
these.
pull a Daria impression and be like, that's just pathetic.
Yeah, no, that's not working for me. Okay. Yeah, so that didn't work, which I'm really pissed. Yes, Safa, I do like to eat Melbourne burgers. Thank you. Yeah, strictly speaking, Jonathan Katz was. Oh, could it have been Jonathan Katz? Is that what you're saying? Oh, Steve, you had to go away and get some interviews in the can. Now you take a break. Nice. Yeah, I usually hang out for a while. Maybe it was Jonathan Katz who was in the thing. Okay, I'm gonna fucking go. That's the last possible thing that I might have been mistakenly associating things with. Tom Snyder, Squiggle Vision, Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, which was a great show as well. Wow, there were 6 seasons. I thought there was only like 2 seasons of Dr. Katz. There were 6. Voices of Jonathan Katz. That's right. H. John Benjamin, the guy who's Archer, was in a lot of these animations as well. Okay. Why is technology just being so evil to me? Please just show me Jonathan Katz, American comedian. He voiced Eric Robbins in Adult Swim home movies. He's diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. That's unfortunate for him. Career. He was in Dr. Katz, therapist, created the show Raising Dad. He's in the main series home. No, it wasn't him. Okay. Well, I'm just going to die not knowing this, and I hate that. Ugh. The universe hates me. That's what's happening.
That reminds me of Wayne's Manifesto.
What?
Wayne from Wayne's World. God, so if you're just mentioning Melbourne burgers, I'm haven't had a burger in a while, and I do like my Melbourne burgers. Thursday's usually burger night in the Angry household, and we actually haven't for the last 2 weeks. I mean, technically, because our favourite places are all still doing takeaway, and we always got takeaway anyway, brought it home. Now you've got me thinking about burgers. And lucky I had homemade fried chicken tonight, that I made, which was very yummy. So I am sated food-wise, so that's okay.
Please stop talking about burgers. We are in quarantine on the northwest coast of Tassie, and that's my normal sort of meal.
Yeah, that's pretty savage, the quarantine they put you under.
Yeah, this is day 3 today of being shut in the house with the door locked, no one in, no one out.
Well, for how long?
Doing it for 2 weeks. That's what the state government has mandated for us northwest coasters.
Yeah, a bit harsh. There were at least, because a rumour got around that this outbreak happened because a bunch of medical staff had an illegal dinner party together and spread it amongst each other. That apparently has since been refuted. They said, no, that was just a rumour and it didn't actually happen. But
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because you really don't want to be put in such a shitty situation by people being dickheads when they should know better.
I know that a lot of people in the medical industry that I'm sort of associated with have been saying on their Facebooks that it's pretty rough that they've been treated or accused of this sort of thing when there's really no basis to it. So they're quite unhappy about that.
Yeah. So that rumor went around for several days, and then it was like investigated. And then I think the chief medical officer said, no, that didn't actually happen. That's not a real thing. That's not a thing that happened. And I think that didn't happen, got less media than the rumor that it did happen, quite honestly.
Fairly typical.
Yeah, very typical. Very typical. Well, strictly
there is also...
Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
There's also that rumor that the government, to people that work in government, they're very racist. And I heard firsthand from an Asian friend of mine that they are, in South Australia anyway.
Oh, there's lots of racist people in government. There's lots of racist people aren't in government. Lots of Asian people have found themselves getting threatened and abused on the streets. There are some very unpleasant people out there. But yes.
Yeah, I was on a bus once and someone's like pointing at a Chinese lady going, she's got coronavirus, she's going to give us all it. And I'm thinking, no, dude, no, dickhead, just sit down or leave the bus.
Yeah. Yeah. There's basically just no shortage of dickheads in the world, essentially. Well, I just felt compelled to look up news. It's like the NT has had no new cases in over a week.
You should put up that website you show at the end of streams normally.
Oh God, the bloody Johns Hopkins numbers. I think they had a mistake today. Actually, I want to check and see. There's a curse to our success. What is it? Herd immunity. We're all going to die. Australian flattened the curve means there's no chance of herd immunity. Yes, because we're limiting the number of people who are testing positive. Closing borders obviously worked. The curse is this: the nation's borders will need to stay closed. Yes, they will. And when we don't see new cases, people are going to go, why do we still have to have restrictions? It's going, because the second we lift the restrictions, boom goes the thing. It's possible. Obviously, the highest risk things internally are bars, and probably bars more than cafes and restaurants. And the sort of slightly less risky is, okay, everyone who doesn't work churches, yes, big mass gatherings like that, still have limits on mass gatherings, but everyone else can go back to work. Like if you're not in bars or, and cafes can still do takeaway, and still ban mass gatherings, but if you're not working in bars or restaurants, you can go back to work. And then we'd probably see a small increase in the number of cases, but probably at a manageable level. And then we might experiment and go, maybe we can reopen the restaurants, and then we'd probably see more of an increase, but maybe it's still manageable. And then we go, why don't we reopen the bars and just say there's the football's on, there's no, and then it's going to go. But still, the real kicker is the international borders. That's gonna stay. The lockdown is gonna stay till there's vaccination, basically. I don't think there's going to be international travel until we can get a vaccination.
Do you think nationalism and racism will ramp up in the wake of all this?
Well, it already has. It already has.
I mean, more like in a permanent fixture. So,
well, I think some opportunistic racists and xenophobes will jump on. But, I mean,
Pauline Hanson.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What I hope happens is, they
all get coronavirus and...
Well, yeah, that too. I hope they all get... No. No, what I hope happens is people see the undeniable critical flaws in, like, neoliberal capitalism, the whole idea that profit is everything, and so therefore offshoring jobs, offshoring manufacturing, this is all good things because the big conglomerates get an increased share price and increased profits if they sack all the Australian workers and offshore things. But then when we have this critical event happen, it's like, there's no manufacturing in Australia and we can't get stuff.
Do you think if all this happened, like was frame shifted 2 months earlier, that Bernie may have actually had a chance in the US primaries?
Well, yeah, I've seen that theory put about, and what put the kibosh on Bernie, like he did the unprecedented thing where he basically won the first 3 contests, which no one has ever done, and that so terrified the mainstream of the Democratic establishment, they dragged all the centrists in the room. And because Joe Biden did unexpectedly well in South Carolina. He was expected to do well. He was expected to do very well, but he even outperformed the most favorable estimates of how well he'd do. And the party people then just dragged like Mayor Pete and who was the other centrist, the woman, but the one who hated Mayor Pete. Like, it was hilarious how much she hated Mayor Pete. We forget these names already.
So basically what you're saying is, as candidates dropped out, they supported Biden, and so their following stacked on with Biden, as opposed
including
to
Sanders.
Yep. Thank you, Stella. Tulsi Gabbard. That was the name I was trying to think. She hated Mayor Pete with a fucking passion. It was absolutely hilarious to watch. And so what clearly happened is the establishment said, okay, you three are splitting the establishment vote. That shit stops now. Biden just stormed in with South Carolina. It's him. And then I'm sure Tulsi Gabbard said, okay, that little shit weasel's dropping out before I do. And so Mayor Pete, being the obliging little shit weasel that he is, announced he was pulling out. And then straight after, Tulsi Gabbard announced she was pulling out. And then the establishment just put all the thing on, Joe Biden's the one. And the voters went, okay. And the focus that had all been on Bernie Sanders just flipped to Biden. And it's not corrupt. Like some people went, it's a fix. It's not corrupt. It's a slimy political deal, but it's not corrupt. As the establishment just went, Bernie Sanders, fucking hell, he's going to fuck everything up. So they put all their power behind Biden. And honestly, I'm impressed that it worked, because I didn't think it was going to work. I'm really impressed the degree to which, when they just channeled the entire message to ignore Bernie Sanders, vote Joe Biden, voters went, oh, okay, sure, I'll do that. And I'm like, But it was such a fine thing, because it's like, first three contests is like Bernie, 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 and all the second and third places kept changing. Like, there was no clear second place. And Biden was doing worse than expected. Like, Biden was looking like a fucking joke. Biden was looking like a write-off. And then South Carolina comes and he absolutely blitzes it. And they went, oh, fuck me, he actually does have the support in the southern states. We kept saying he did, but we weren't sure we believed it. But he really does. And they just said to all the establishment candidates, get the fuck out. It's Biden. And they went, okay, you know, I want to gig out of this. And and they put all their weight behind Sanders. And like I said, I'm honestly impressed it worked, because I didn't think it would, but it did. And here we are.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah. So it's like that. Oh, yes. Strictly saying, Warren let loose on Bloomberg, which was also hilarious. That was extremely funny when Elizabeth Harris ripped Bloomberg savagely. It was very, very funny. And I thought it was very funny when Tulsi Gabbard ripped Pete Buttigieg. It was hilarious how much she hated Pete Buttigieg. It was beautiful to see. But Stella, I honestly don't understand really why African Americans love Biden so much. It's partly the Obama link, but also over many decades, Biden, he's a relationship guy. He's a feel-good guy. And he had that in his favor, but it's weird.
And who didn't love those Obama-Biden memes? They were great.
They were. The Joe Biden memes were hilarious. I loved them. I think that's how he got the vote. He just kept going around to people, I'm the guy from the memes. Remember me? That was ridiculous. Safa's asking, did they pay off the other candidates? I don't believe they literally paid off the other candidates. I do believe they went, yeah, you'll get a job, okay? Okay, but you're not going to win, so do the right thing and pull out all together, and we'll look after you down the track. I don't believe they were literally paid off. I don't believe it was literally corrupt. It was just typical slimy backroom political deals, which is not
Like
illegal.
stand over per people.
I reckon they probably stood over Mayor Pete. Like, I don't think anyone likes him. It's just like, isn't there? Shut up, you little fucking weasel, and do what we say. And then Tulsi Gabbard said, I'm happy to go along, but make that little dickhead pull out before I do. Pete's going, okay, I'll do that. She's going to punch me, isn't she? It's like,
I had the funniest.
Sorry, go Lee.
I had the funniest dream that Joe Biden was singing FDT Part 2.
He was doing what?
The song where it's like F Donald Trump, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, why am I having this dream?
He probably does at parties, honestly. I reckon, I honestly think Trump's going to, unless Trump gets totally taken apart by coronavirus, which honestly seems pretty likely because it's really exposing his incompetence very badly. But failing that, I was always the opinion Trump would fucking slaughter Biden in a general election.
I concur.
Yeah, he would absolutely slaughter him because Biden doesn't inspire anyone. Trump inspires fucking psychopaths, but he inspires them. I laugh every now and then on Twitter. I post something along the lines of, I would like a Biden supporter to tell me a single policy of his they're excited by. And no one has ever replied because there is nothing that Joe Biden is doing that's an exciting policy. It's like, it's not Donald Trump. That's not a policy. That's not a policy.
And apparently he's keeping the Second Amendment, with the guns and all that.
Oh, yeah, no. Biden's incredibly conservative. He was friends with segregationists.
A conservative friend of mine who is a Trump supporter posted a thing on Facebook the other day. Joe Biden sexual assault accuser Tara Reid files criminal complaint. Is there anything to that? I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. So.
I listened to, it was one of the podcasts I listened to. It's like a team effort. The guy who does the Behind the Bastards pod and a couple of people who've had a long running YouTube channel called Some More News. And they teamed up and started a podcast late last year that was about this year. It was called Worst Year Ever because they were just sort of projecting forward like this is just going to be a really shit, awful election campaign in America. A little did they know just how good the name for the podcast was with the descent of coronavirus and whatnot. But they did a really in-depth, fairly clinical dissection of the accusations against Joe Biden, and honestly, they're credible. And the number of people who, like when the Supreme Court hearings with that weird guy who'd clearly sexually assaulted many women in his youth, denied it, and he got the job on the Supreme Court anyway.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
The one that interviewed Zuckerberg.
Possibly, but like all the left people who were going, believe women, support women, the Me Too movement, and now someone has come out with a very credible accusation against Joe Biden, and they've flipped completely. To the extent that a couple of them have been exposed, they've clearly dredged through their whole Twitter timeline and they've removed every tweet referring to believe women and whatnot. So there are some really fucking cynical people in the public sphere who are backing Joe Biden and don't want to give credence to this woman, Tara Reid, even though what she's saying deserves real scrutiny, deserves a real airing.
As it turns out, he did it. Fuck that guy.
Exactly. I mean, I've actually seen this multiple times by people who think they're incitable. Sorry, who think they're intelligent, like on Twitter and stuff, saying, "Oh, even if Joe Biden is a rapist, he's not as bad a rapist as Donald Trump. Plus, he has better policies, so vote for him anyway." And going, "You are the worst person in the world. You are a terrible, terrible, terrible person." And
What's the solution
Also a
for people
terrible
then? If
liar.
it turns out, sorry, go ahead. Okay, what's the solution for people then? Like if I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I just said they're incredible liars if they're like Joe Biden's got really good policies.
well, there's that true. Go, Megaleech.
Yeah, sorry. So what I was saying was, if it does turn out that Biden has acted badly, and it's obvious that Trump has acted badly, and they're the two candidates, I mean, you have to vote independent, or?
Well, clearly removing Trump is important. I don't know. I think
Not going to happen.
If I was an American, I think I'd probably vote Biden and just like suck massively. I definitely wouldn't be inspired. I would definitely be joining people who are trying to continue pretty much the momentum that Sanders started, to have an actual progressive movement and to upset the fucking establishment of the Democratic Party, because I don't think there's any future in supporting the establishment of the Democratic Party. But in terms of the general election, I'd probably end up voting for Biden. Again, notwithstanding COVID-19, I think Trump will sort it. Although it would be funny to see them in a debate, because Biden has previously threatened to punch Trump in the face. And
Secret Service wouldn't allow. Come on,
he'd fucking do it. And Trump would do his big bluster, obnoxious stuff, and I think he'd set Biden off. Because I think Biden's not all there, quite honestly, and I think he'd just sort of trigger something in Biden. And I don't think Biden would actually punch him, but Biden would be straight up on TV threatening to punch the shit out of Trump. He'd be like, "Up now, you me." Out the back, now, in the car park, you, me. Secret Service, fuck off, you, me. I reckon he would straight up stand there threatening to punch Trump.
Should organise a boxing match or something for them.
I just think it would be funny. Old man slap fight. Except I don't think Biden would slap. I think Biden would actually fucking punch. And
wasn't Trump on WWE or something there, like in a token?
He was.
That was just a money thing. But no.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But put them both in WWE, give them a couple of chairs each, and let them go.
Biden's a scrapper. He had a rough upbringing. I don't think Trump's ever had a fight in his life. I think Biden would straight up fucking snap him. And
no, Trump got his concierge to do it for him.
Yeah.
He's got thick skin made of orange, tan stuff.
Yeah, possibly if Biden punched him in the face, his fist would just kind of slide off and his greasy fake tan. But I don't think he'd get to punch him. But I honestly think if they did a debate thing, Trump would do his obnoxious bluster thing, and Biden would lose his shit and just start threatening to punch Trump. And I just think that would be hilarious. That would be great.
And then they'd be like, "Oh, so much for the tolerant left."
Oh, I fucking love that. One of my favorite ones of that is like someone's superimposed a Pepe head on as like a woodcut of a guillotine in the terror in revolutionary France, and as the Pepe gets put into the guillotine, it says, "So much for the tolerant left," and the person just pulls the lever and the Pepe head goes bouncing off down the thing. It's like, yep, this is going to happen. But oh look, I've run a little bit over because I got so fucking worked up talking about the American politics. I was going, hey, shall we pass with the depressing numbers?
Yeah. Oh, and Justin Trudeau looks like he could easily just give Trump a good punch in these photos.
He's too much of a sweetie. Justin Trudeau.
He is.
Oh, we're about to hit. They did correct it. the Johns Hopkins site I looked at earlier, they had the US at nearly 700,000 confirmed cases, which would have been a 20% jump in a single day. And I thought that can't be right, and it wasn't. They're corrected, but
screen share it, Andrew.
I am. Sorry, I'm going to screen share it. I'm going to screen share it before I go to bed. Tomorrow, we're going to hit 2 million confirmed cases worldwide. Hurrah for landmarks.
What percentage of that is US?
Well over a quarter. I reckon the US is going to wanting to be half of all world cases. So at the moment, 1.9 million, almost 600,000 of those are in the US. So the US is not far short of a third of all confirmed cases in the world, which is just...
Do you think this is what he meant by, make the United States great again? They're on top of this list.
USA #1, and they're up to 24,000 deaths, which is, again, percentage-wise, that's a little bit high. Like, in a perfect world, the death rate would be about 1%, and that's like 2.5%, which is a little like double what you'd be hoping. And but there are obviously worse ones, like Italy's more than 10%. Even the UK is...
Did you say a 10% death rate for Italy?
Oh, over, with 150,000 cases, 20,000 fatalities. That's over 10%. That is very bad. The UK...
Is that due to other people who are sick for other things not being able to get the help that they need because the hospitals are overcrowded with coronavirus patients, or like a flow-on effect? Or is it more coronavirus deaths?
Those are coronavirus deaths.
Damn.
There would be many, many, many more deaths because other people aren't getting treatment for things they need treatment for. Some people have said it's because Italy has an aging population, and that would make sense, but also because it got out of control there. The hospitals got overwhelmed straight away. They couldn't give people care, and so the death rate just went horrifically high. But the UK is over 10%. United Kingdom, with 90,000 cases, is over 11,000 deaths. That is really bad. And not that... So I think anyone who doesn't believe... Why would you believe China? They lied so much. But they're recording 83,000 cases and 3,000 deaths.
It's the curve that you want to see.
Yeah, that flat one.
That's because the Chinese Communist Party like hiding things.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a total outrageous lie. Like, I don't think their numbers are like America. But I think it's reasonable to be a bit cynical about their numbers.
Have you seen the mass graves being dug in, I think it's off New York?
Yes. Oh, yes. New York and in a few places around the world. But look at good old Australia. We are so far down the list. Australia, 6,500 cases, only 61 fatalities. Like, we're doing really well. And you look at our graph also looks great.
Ooh, scroll down to Tasmania on that back list.
All right, I will. Hang on a sec. Tassie. 5 deaths in Tassie.
Yeah, so we're not doing that great.
Yeah, and there's the worry that you're about to get a little spike because of, well, the reason you're under quarantine. Yeah, so we're actually doing quite well. The Google map is...
I believe Tasmania was at least double the infected per capita than any other place in Australia, which kind of sucks considering that we've got the moat around the moat. We're the island on the island nation. We should have been the most protected, you would think.
Yeah. If I share the Google one, they're interesting because... Oh, what am I doing? Share screen. Stop it. Because they have an infection rate per million population, which is an interesting statistic. No, that's not the screen I want. I want that screen. So, okay, those numbers are real little and you might not be able to see them. But it's saying worldwide, 1.9 million confirmed cases which is 247 cases per million people. And
Control scroll up to Zoom.
Sorry?
If you hold Control down and scroll up on your wheel mouse to Zoom, there you go.
Nerd. Okay, so Australia.
If you look on the bottom of it, you'll find the password as well.
Yeah, I know. There's a password on the bottom of my laptop. Daniel just doesn't know when to quit. So Australia's right on that number. The United States is obviously much worse. So the infection rate per million people in the US is like 6 times worse than Australia. So we're like doing 6 times better than the US. Spain's way worse, like almost 3 times worse than the US. Italy's twice as bad as the US. Germany's got a really high infection rate. France has got a high infection rate. UK's got a high infection rate. See, look, okay, China, because of its massive population and those low numbers they're reporting, that's saying 58 cases per million people. I don't know anyone who really, truly believes China's telling us everything. Look, Belgium, some of the European countries have got weirdly high infection rates. Belgium, 2,700, which is 10 times higher than Australia. Portugal, 1,600. Austria, 1,500. Israel, 1,200. Sweden, 1,000 per million people. And Sweden did a really lax thing. They didn't like lock down at all, really, compared to everyone else. And it looked like it was working for a while. And apparently they're right on the edge of it spiraling and getting really bad. Ireland has a disturbingly high rate, 2,100, 1,200.
Oh no, my ancestors would be very depressed about Ireland.
Oh, Ireland's had worse problems than this when your ancestors were around, yours and mine. Luxembourg.
I know, hence Luck of the Irish being coined.
5,300, that's way high. Like 20 times higher than, and Iceland's really, with only 9 deaths, but Iceland has, with a small population, has a high rate of infection. Estonia, 1,000. Yeah, statistics, so many statistics. Yes, but we'll leave that off for the night. Going to go to bed. I've actually run like half an hour over, but that's okay because I got really agitated about. Oh, I think Gecko's showing us the open road. I want to see that.
Hello again.
It's on the open road. Just in
Hi,
time.
Gecko.
Yeah, I actually wanted to comment. I had to go take a ride. Earlier, talking about animation, and you mentioned someone in a beanie and drugs, and that made me think of Cheech and Chong.
Yes.
Was that part of it?
No, but Cheech and Chong were their own special drug humor, definitely.
Yeah. And then there was also an animation called The Regular Show. And
that's
I don't know. They have a they call it a screen test or a pilot or something. It was on YouTube. It was black and white. I don't know if it was really a screen test or someone just made it after the fact to be funny. They were talking about LSD, and that's how they became the characters on The Regular Show. The gumball machine and the bird.
Okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Okay, I just noticed Shelf Warmer was saying the animation we were trying to think of was called Robin. I know that wasn't that about a little girl? Because there were 2 done by the same people in the same style, and one was for kids, and it was really sweet, and it was this little girl who would narrate everything that happened, and one was for stoner adults that had a guy.
Oh God, the sun.
Oh, gone straight into the sun. Sunrise. All right, I'm going to bed, so I hope you get some.
Here comes the sun.
I have an adventure I would like to go on tomorrow if you're online. I noticed see, I like to collect things that are on the side of the road occasionally. And And tonight I noticed there was a traffic signal that someone had smashed down with their truck or car, and it's on the side of the road. So I might like to collect that if I have the time.
Does it decorate the home
Oh,
bar?
yeah.
I'm down for that. Okay.
Echo?
Yeah. And I also found, sorry, I'm going to go to bed definitely, but massive high fives, high tens even to Shelf Warmer, who found the right show. It's called Robin, and I even recognize the name, Magnus Carlsen, and it was narrated by Dave Avallone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining. It's always
Yeah, thanks for having us, buddy.
be back. Oh, the show was called Robin. Shelf Warmer is a legend. That would have driven me crazy, but now I can just go to bed and be happy. So thank all you guys for joining on cam. Thanks everyone in the chat. I probably will be back.
You're welcome.
And it sounds like Gecko's going to take us on an adventure, which is going to be fabulous. But in the meantime, maybe an adventure. We'll see what happens. But I'll catch you.
All right, peace and love.
Peace, love, and mung beans to everyone. Look after yourself.